Beitzah Daf. How's everybody doing? The Gemara tells us that the third machlokes that Rav had, and we actually passing like Rav, is the 2 days of Rosh Hashanah. We're literally going into Rosh Hashanah 1 hour from now here in Eretz Yisrael, where Rav and Shmuel say that if an egg was laid on the first day, it's also to eat on the second day. The Gemara tells us that there was once in the Beitzah Hamikdash a time where the Leviim said the Shir Shel Yom of a weekday, and it came out that the Edom came and testified after the Korban Tamid, and it was the wrong Shir. It was supposed to be that of Rosh Hashanah. So they said that when the Edom come, we're not going to accept their testimony anymore. And if they do come, we'll treat the first day with Kedusha. In other words, it's a yomi arichta, it's one Kedusha. Rabbah says, the Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai says that after the Churban, there's no more Shir Shel Yom, there's no more problem of Shir Shel Yom being ruined, so we do accept the testimony of the Edom after Mincha. And therefore, an egg would be mutter. Only in Chutz La'aretz, it remains asur because nothing ever changed in Chutz La'aretz. They never made 1 day in Eretz Yisrael, and in Chutz La'aretz, they're still with the original Isser. Says Rav Yosef that Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai doesn't have a right to undo a takana. In order to undo a takana, you need to gather the zkanim and take a vote, and they never did so to undo the takana about an egg. And Abaye says, you don't need to gather for an egg. There was never an actual takana not to eat an egg. There was just a takana whether or not to accept the testimony. The egg was just an outcome. Now the Gemara brings 3 rayas that if Chacham gathered and took a vote, the only way to undo that is to gather and take a vote to undo that. Because Baruch Hu told Klal Yisrael, leave your wives, leave the tent, and then after, for 3 days, so after 3 days it should expire. But HaKadosh Baruch Hu tells him, go back home. That's not such a great raya, the Gemara says, because you think that maybe HaKadosh Baruch Hu's mitzvah that you have to go home. There's a mitzvah ayna, not that you could. Okay, but then the Gemara says, El mula hara hu, you shouldn't go onto the mountain when there's the Shechina on the mountain. And then afterwards the Torah says, Bim shoich hayovel, you can go up after the shofar sound. The Gemara brings a 3rd raya, that even in the Rabbanon, a takana de Rabbanon, you need to gather the Chachamim and take a vote. Because the halacha is that mid Rabbanon, you have to bring Kerem Revai, the fruit of the 4th year, to Yerushalayim. You cannot transfer to money if you live within 1 day of Yerushalayim. And that's a takana de Rabbanon. Otherwise, you should be able to just redeem all your fruit, turn it into cash, and bring it up to Yerushalayim. Why? Because Chachamim wanted that the marketplace should be full of fruit. But after the Churban, you don't have the takana anymore, unfortunately. There's no marketplace. Yet, we don't undo the takana, because you need skenim. There are 2 that argue with Rabbah. Rav Ada says that an egg is asur. Why? Because Meheri Yibana Beis Hamikdash, and there will be Kedusha Achas, and people will still think that there's 2 Kedushas, that Rosh Hashanah is 2 individual Yom Tovim. But Eidos, we do accept testimony because Bezin know to differentiate between the 2. Rava says that Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai always held that Rosh Hashanah is 2 days. Just that the takana was that he did, that if Edom come, even after Mincha, the first day should be a Doiraisa, and the second day the Rabbanon, and not like beforehand, before the takana, where the second day was the Doiraisa and the first day was the Rabbanon. Have a wonderful day, and a ksiva v'chasima toiva, a good gebench diyar.